Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. It took me a minute there. Hope you guys are all doing well. I was kind of chatting with some of you before, or a little bit. I should say I was reading some of the chats because there's some good questions here about our topic this morning, which is Maurene Comey getting terminated from the U.S. Attorney's Office yesterday, as far as we know, where she worked for the Southern District of New York specifically. All right, let's get into it. Good morning, Robin. Good morning, MJ, Samantha, Carrie, Afton. It's so good to see you guys. Frat Boy, the only V, Ashley Matthews. Yeah, this is perfect because I know a lot of people might be interested in also the Brian Kohberger hearing at 10:30. So we'll get all this done before. But I have been texting and contacting a lot of different sources that I have that have connects to, number one, the Trump administration, and number two, to I guess just the legal world in general. So that obviously includes Ghislaine's defense attorneys and just some people that were kind of involved. And I've gotten some good feedback, I think, on some speculation as to why she may have been let go. Good morning, Kenny. Good morning, Jason. Les, good morning. Sinead, good to see you. Good to see you. So first, let's go over the facts here. What we know. So Maurene Comey, very highly regarded assistant U.S. attorney. And she successfully prosecuted Ghislaine Maxwell. She worked on Jeffrey Epstein's case. And most recently, we know that she worked on the Sean Combs prosecution. And I know that this doesn't matter at all, but I have to say, just on a personal level, Maurene Comey was so nice, just as a human being, as a person. She was so friendly during the trial, and she would really seem to get along with the defense as well. Like her and Tenny always just seemed to have these respectful conversations about things, that she just, she was a nice human being. And I thought she was a very talented prosecutor in terms of her passion, I guess. So when she she didn't do the closing arguments for Diddy, she did the redirect, which I missed. I missed the redirect. I was not there. But from what I read in the transcript and what I knew about her and her delivery, she's very passionate about survivors, victims, and that kind of mentality, I think. So, well, I have thoughts, and I'll get there. But yeah, she definitely was. She was a passionate, smart woman, and I thought she did the best she could. Now, I did get some other perspective. I guess I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but and you guys have probably heard me say this, Maurene Comey did not start this case against Diddy. And of course, it's like, lawyers and prosecutors don't they don't start the investigation. The investigation comes from HSI, the FBI, NYPD, etc. But I had mentioned Maurene Comey. This was kind of dropped on her lap by Damian Williams. So I was like, okay, it's not necessarily her fault, yada, yada. Well, I did speak yesterday to a former prosecutor, and they gave me, I think, some good intel in terms of, you have discretion. If something is put onto your lap, like a case like this, and maybe you think it's either one, overcharged, two, not a great case, a person in her position would have had the authority to push back and say, yeah, I don't really know if this case is solid. I don't know, witness wise, et cetera, et cetera. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I was like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. She could have pushed back if she thought this case was weak. And I don't know if she did. I don't know if she did. So, yeah, I thought that was super interesting. And let me see what I don't know. If you guys want to drop in the chat why you think she was fired, let me know. I will pin all of these chats if they're respectful. Okay, respectful. But love this. Nothing bigger than the chat. Love it. Love it so much. So yeah, so that was one thing. You know, this guy, former prosecutor, was like, yeah, she could have pushed back and she didn't. Okay, fine. So that's one thing. Okay, no, that is not what that means at all. Definitely not what it means. So at this point, there's still the team that prosecuted Diddy, right? There's, Christy Slavic, U.S. Attorney Johnson. I mean, I forget all of their names, but you've got this group that prosecuted him. And then, you've got Maurene's boss, who is Jay Clayton. So at this point, if Jay Clayton and the prosecutors that prosecuted this case, they didn't agree with Maurene Comey wanting 51 to 63 months for Diddy, they can say, okay, we change our mind. We only want 18 months. I don't know if that necessarily would happen. That probably would be a really bad look for the government if all of a sudden they, or maybe not, maybe they could just be like, oh yeah, they could scapegoat her, I guess, and say, we don't agree with that sentence or the maximum sentence. We want X, Y, Z. So they will have discretion, but that does not mean Diddy's getting out of jail. And that also, again, that doesn't mean that he's going to get a lighter sentence. It's up to the judge. However, if Jay Clayton gets involved, and they decide that he doesn't deserve, the full sentence, they'll recommend something lighter. So, yes, you're funny. You're on your best behavior. You're leaving the disrespect for that's amazing. For Axe Live. That made me laugh. That was good. And yes, thank you so much. Hit the like button. That would be so amazing. All right, let's see. Sudad says she was fired to protect integrity of the state. The state equates to human beings with pride. The state is disappointed with the overall outcome. I mean, I think you mean the government, because she works, she works for the government. Obviously, yes, she worked specifically for the Southern District of New York, but I totally see what you're saying. Didn't she do the Epstein case? Well, she worked on the Epstein case. Obviously, that didn't go to trial, but she got the conviction against Ghislaine. And, that's another interesting aspect of this whole thing. Now, there's no list, right? Ghislaine, no list Maxwell. She was prosecuted by Maurene Comey. I mean, did something happen to this evidence all of a sudden? I mean, I'm kind of kidding, but like really, it's weird timing. So that's another sort of layer behind this. Let me see. Samantha, I don't think this has anything to do with Diddy. I think that this is personal for Trump. He didn't like her father. You are also correct. And there has been chatter. Actually, let me put this back up there. There has been chatter, and this was I think it was per ABC. One of ABC's sources said Trump privately vented about having a Comey work in his administration. So you're right. He doesn't like James Comey. He fired him pretty much immediately into his presidency back in whatever it was, 2016, because of Comey's investigation into Russia. So me personally, when the Trump administration announced that they were investigating James Comey and the CIA director, the former CIA director, initially I was like, oh, this is the Trump administration's way of being like, hey, look over here. Something shiny. Let me just deflect from the Epstein disaster. We're looking into James Comey. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. I'm sure maybe they are, but also I was like, well, that seems convenient. And I don't know, I don't necessarily know everything about how these investigations work, but I have to think that you don't just decide, the morning of, oh, we're going to do an investigation and we're going to announce it to the press. I mean, maybe you do, but something like that, don't you guys think that maybe they would have had to put some thought into this and a couple meetings and, sort of almost like a case, a criminal case, get the evidence together, show it, and then present it and then decide. I mean, I could be wrong, but Sinead, thank you so much. I missed you too. Thank you. Really appreciate you. Let me see. President Trump's hatred of James Comey is warranted. Little Comey was just part of the same weaponized system and it's going away. Totally hear that. Now, also, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but Maurene Comey's husband also works for the U.S. Attorney's Office. And her husband, his name is Lucas I'm gonna totally butcher this, Issacharoff. So he works at the U.S. Attorney's Office at SDNY in the civil division, and he's been working there since 2019, and he is a known Trump hater. So a lot of people are also wondering, and Laura Loomer specifically, she's calling for his firing as well. She's been talking about this and getting both of them fired for a really, really long time. But as of right now, her husband still works for the DOJ. Now, something else interesting about her husband is where he used to work. Let me find, I had the information up. Where is it? Here it is. Okay. So he used to work at a firm called Sussman Godfrey, and he was an associate there. And this is a very known anti-Trump firm. You can look it up, Sussman Godfrey. And in April of 2025, President Trump signed an executive order sanctioning the Sussman Godfrey law firm for their role in the weaponization of lawfare against President Trump and also discrimination. So, and then in turn, Sussman Godfrey is suing the Trump administration over that executive order. So it's kind of dramatic. And again, her husband worked there right before working for the DOJ, and he is a known Trump hater. That's just out there. So I don't really know what's going to happen, but I think that that's really interesting. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I mean, if they're going to let her go because of, and if this is true, you know, we don't know, but if they're going to let her go because of issues with Trump, issues with the administration and her father, then it's only fair to let him go as well. Just saying. However, if it's based on performance, right? If we're talking about the Diddy trial, okay, that's different. Then let him stay. Let me see. Dizzy, hey, how are you? Didn't even see you. Let me see. That's so, wait, are you talking about me, Jason? So kind and nice of me. I didn't do anything. I don't know what I did. I'm going back in the chat and I'm reading, or did someone in the chat say something nice? Let me see. Oh, he meant Sinead probably giving the super chat. That was super nice. Thank you. Let me see what else. Ms. Ashley, you say she was fired because Trump had a vendetta against her father and because she was a woman. Had this been a man, he would still have a job. Women get one chance and that's it. Totally hear you. Totally hear you. I think in this case, we don't know what the truth is, right? I want to know what the reason is. And as of right now, it is interesting. Every media outlet has asked the U.S. Attorney's Office, specifically for the Southern District of New York, for a comment, and either, the U.S. Attorney's Office declined to comment, and then a spokesperson for the Justice Department did not respond to a call. So they are not disclosing, you know, what is going on. They are not disclosing why she was fired. And I don't agree with that. I think personally, when, you know, you are in a position like this, we have a right to know. The public has a right to know. But yeah, that's super frustrating. And it says, oops, yeah. And that's the thing. Civil servants do not get fired for cause. Usually, if that's the case, there's progressive discipline. Yeah, totally get that. Like, they don't need to specifically state a reason, obviously, when they're fired. And this happened the other day, I think, with Pam Bondi's, one of her employees as well. He was fired without cause, no reason at all. He was working in the ethics department. But again, it's just really, really strange. And thank you so much, Panama. I'm so glad that you're here as well. I appreciate it. So, okay, just going back to let's talk about just Diddy specifically and this case and this trial and Maurene's role. So the Southern District of New York many of you probably know this, some of you might not, but they have a 95% conviction rate, and they are known as being one of the toughest offices in the country. They have a crazy reputation. So this did not look good. The fact that she did not get the RICO conviction, she didn't get the trafficking conviction, and again, everybody seemed to be counting on her for this. Really, really bad look. So part of me, I really did think here that they weren't happy with this. They weren't happy with the way that it looked. They weren't happy with the way that she possibly handled it. I mean, I think I had said I was disappointed in some of the witnesses that they chose, and maybe they couldn't help it. Maybe certain people were not available. I mean, I don't know, but it wasn't great. The case wasn't great. I'll say it. I've said it. Not the strongest case. And clearly, as this prosecutor said, she had discretion. She could have said, actually, I don't know about this. This seems like an overreach. I don't know if we should go this route. She didn't do it. So she didn't do it. Yeah. So it wasn't her case. Right. But so I don't know, Pat, if you were here at the beginning or, the middle, but what I had said was I was completely agreeing with you on this wholeheartedly until a former prosecutor told me that when she got this case, she could have pushed back. She could have made changes. She could have made adjustments, and she didn't. So I think there's something to be said there. And then someone else that I asked in the industry, who's actually a fixer who works for a lot of high profile people, he said that Maurene Comey is known for overcharging, or the SDNY is known for overcharging. And listen, I can't really speak to that. I have not dug into all of their cases, and pulled all of these case files. But yeah, I thought that, again, the racketeering was going to be a tough call for Diddy. And I definitely, I didn't see that coming through as a conviction personally. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. And it was really helpful that he said this. What else I wrote down just some things that people said to me. So yeah, it was mainly about the SDNY overcharging, and then the fact that she did have discretion over the case to make changes. But then again, so did Jay Clayton. But if you also heard one of my last lives, and I said that I had this random lunch where Kash Patel was there, and I kind of made a comment about the Diddy case. I said to him, I don't think I said this on the live. I think I just said that I brought up Epstein, and he got up from the table, and somebody's like, read the room. Like, you can't talk about this like you are. And I'm like, okay. But no, I did bring up the Diddy case, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of wild that like baby oil seems to be the biggest piece of evidence against him. And Kash is like, I got nothing to do with that. That is not my investigation. That is not my case. Very much distancing himself from that. So, and I'm saying that on the record. He was like, I don't know what, like, don't, I have nothing to do with that. Don't bucket me with that case. So I'm like, okay. Let me go to the chat. Trump said he would look into the case and make sure Diddy wasn't being treated unfairly. I remember when he was asked about a pardon, I think everybody was shocked because he didn't say no right away. He was like, oh, let me look into it. And I think that if Diddy was convicted on the trafficking charges, that Trump would definitely not look into it, because again, you don't want to be associated with somebody who has been convicted of sex crimes. That is a no-no. So I think that, yeah, well, I guess prostitution is technically a sex crime, but I think it's more common. I think most people would agree. If you don't, I'm sorry. Many people facing a strong case plea out. Yeah, okay, that's also fair. Let me see. I read the conviction rate is, oh, okay. I might have seen something on that, but I didn't look too deep into it. I should probably pull some stats, but I don't know if you guys also remember this, but didn't Irv Gotti beat a RICO in SDNY? Am I crazy? Let me just Google that so I don't misspeak. Irv Gotti beat RICO in SDNY. Yeah. Yeah, they were. They were found not acquitted of, money laundering in a federal trial in SDNY. The jury found them not guilty on all charges. It's important to clarify, that while the term RICO is sometimes used broadly to refer to cases, they were, so I stand corrected. They were not charged with RICO. They were charged with money laundering and they were acquitted. So, that's kind of a big deal. Let me go here. Irv won, but they only got sorry, I should pin this. Oh, interesting. No, this was Irv Gotti was SDNY. I just looked that up. Yeah. Yeah, it was SDNY. You know, it's funny. Sorry. As I'm Googling this stuff, I realize that I get myself closer to my camera and I'm like, hi guys. Sorry. I should be a little more aware of that. My bad. There are a lot of people with egg, or should I say baby oil, in their face after they made jokes and made this case about baby oil and Astroglide. Now, where are those people? Totally hear you. Totally hear you. Hey, Jennifer. I don't think it's about Diddy. Trump is reinvestigating her father, James Comey, and you can't do that when, okay. So, you know, this is interesting. You're saying here you can't do that when his daughter is a prosecutor in the Southern District. I mean, I don't think that, I guess you make a fair point, but also, you know, if you work at a company, it's not like the entire company has access to everything that you do, right? I mean, I don't know. I feel like, what the heck? Why does it say Irv Gotti was, why is it telling me Southern? Is Google wrong here? Oh, Jeffrey Lichtman was his, oh my gosh, was his attorney. I did not realize that. Let me find, I think Justin Combs is also using Jeffrey Lichtman. And you know who else used Jeffrey Lichtman? El Chapo. And you know, I interviewed Jeffrey Lichtman a while ago. He's such a jerk off, you guys. Like, he is so, no, I did double check. It says Southern District, but I don't know. Someone else I'll spend all this time Googling, but wait, let me just go back to Jeffrey Lichtman. He's so rude. Oh, it almost makes me want to, like, do I still have his number to text him and be like, hey, join me right now? Because he's just so mean. And you can see Jeffrey, do I have it? Lichtman. I know I have I should pull up this old interview. So he also represented the Manhattan Madam, and there was some scandal with him and they were like sexting or something. I don't know. And I had asked him about that. And he was so angry that I asked him about it. And then he asked me how old I was. And this was, I don't know, it was a few years ago. So he asked me how old I was. And I think at the time I was 35. And I don't know, when you're a female, you prefer that men say, you know, how old are you? Like 30 or whatever, if you're 35. And so I was just like, and I kind of gave him like a hesitated, you know, stare. And he's like, well, he goes, you look like you're older. You're probably 35, 36. And I'm like, okay, well, he nailed my age, which is offensive enough. Okay. Don't act like, don't act like that's okay to say a woman's age. And then he said, you're older. So I was like, man, this is crazy. Anyway, that's so interesting. Now I want to reach out to him and talk to him, because again, I'm almost certain he's representing Justin Combs on a few things. That would be an interesting convo. Jeffrey Lichtman, raise your hand if you think so. Look this guy up. He's a beast of a lawyer, so I guess that's why he's such an asshole. Yes. So let me see. Joey, you knew Comey was going to be fired. That's interesting. Really interesting. Let me see what else. Why is Trump reinvestigating Comey? He is fired now? I don't think that's it. Well, they're investigating him for his time when he worked his very brief time working for Trump and for that administration, they think that he may have done some sketchy things with Russia along with the CIA director. So I feel like it could be true. Maybe it's not true. I said initially, I thought they were kind of showing something shiny to us to say, hey, you need to stop thinking about the Epstein files and you need to look over here. That's kind of what I thought. But so if you were on my other live stream the other day, you'll know that I had showed you guys Alan Dershowitz text messages as well. When I would reach out to him for comment, I did reach out to him this morning. He didn't text back. I don't expect him to, because maybe if he does, he'll text back one word. I mean, we'll see. But all right, let me see what else. Okay, so let's go to more information about Maurene's firing, or what we know. So I had mentioned that the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan declined to comment. The Justice Department did not immediately respond to any calls from any media outlet. Let me see. So, and I also mentioned that according to ABC News' sources, Trump privately vented about having a Comey work in his administration. So that is interesting. And, there had been a shakeup with the U.S. Attorney's Office, in New York, obviously. So Damian Williams, he stepped aside, and then the top prosecutor took over. His name is Matthew Podolsky. He then took over, then he stepped aside, and then Trump was able to appoint Jay Clayton. So I'm sorry, before Podolsky, there was Danielle Sassoon. She resigned in February because she was upset that they dropped the charges against Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City. So I don't know if you guys remember Eric Adams. He was indicted on some crazy charges involving Turkey, getting money from Turkey back. I think it was back in December. And I just remember it was so crazy because he made this huge spectacle about perp walking Luigi Mangione off of a helicopter pad or something. If you guys remember that. And I was like, wait, bro, you're under indictment now too. What is this, a BOGO for perps, a BOGO perp walk, buy one, get one? That was so ridiculous. But then, Trump obviously was elected, and I felt like Eric Adams is, he could definitely be dirty, but he was also, I think, targeted by Biden's DOJ because he was going against a lot of Biden's direct orders when it came to the migrants, and he was begging for money. Eric Adams, and again, this is my opinion, and I think that he went and he suckled at the Trump teat, if you will, and then he was like, "Look, I'll do anything, and Trump's like, "Okay, great. Let me just make your indictment disappear." And it did. And so this Danielle, what's her name? Wow, I'm blanking on it. Sorry, Danielle Sassoon, resigned in protest of the Justice Department dropping this. And then, Podolsky, and then Jay Clayton. So that is the current state. But you can see there was a lot of shakeup over the last few months. Let me see. Adams folded and 100% folded and kissed the ring. And that's where I was like, yeah, I totally see what's going on. And if people can't see how the DOJ is weaponized by the Republicans and by the Democrat, come on. It's like, you can't, if people can't recognize that both sides are they do the same things, and it's just like, come on, guys, wake up. So, oh my gosh, Maggie, thank you so much. Thank you so much for loving this channel. And yes, I said it, Trump teat. I didn't know how else to say it without sounding disgusting. But yeah, this is literally political in this corrupt government. Totally get it. So let me see what happened in this. I don't know. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. I don't know. Let me know if something happened. I'm not sure. Okay. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for the super chat. Keep the topics coming. Loving the commentary. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's get into more about what we know. Let's get into what we know. So I got that information out. I have Maurene Comey's husband, Lucas, his LinkedIn up. I don't know if that's super important. So I think at this point, if anybody follows Laura Loomer on X, I mentioned that she has been really, really aggressive about wanting both of the Comeys fired. And now I think she's going to go super hard on her husband. So mark my words there. And you said you think Trump is trying to scapegoat Maurene Comey on the Epstein files. Well, this is what's so interesting about this is the timing. And I think we can all sit here and say, okay, she got fired I think it's 2 to 3 weeks to the day after the Diddy verdict came in. That's one thing. The second thing is I didn't update this, but when I did the live on Monday and the DOJ had, or the Attorney General, I'm sorry, they owed a response to Ghislaine and her team about the appeal, and it was denied. So that happened. Ghislaine denied another appeal. The Epstein files, disaster, all of this at once, her dad being investigated. I mean, there's so much here, right? There's so much here. Where do you even begin, or where does one begin? And also, could it be everything? Could it be everything at once? I think it could. And I think that, who else did I reach out to this morning? You know what we could do? We could do some fun little live to tapes, right? I could make some calls and be like, hi, you're live to tape, and put them on speaker. Is that so jerky? Wait, is it let me see. Is New York a 2-party consent state to record? Would that be New York? No, 1-party consent, I think. Yeah, it's 1-party consent. Okay. Not that I would do that to anybody, like sneakily record them and put them live. I'm not like that. I just want to make sure, just in case I call people. Okay, wait. So this is also what, hold on. Let me see. We are never getting those files, guys. You are right. Let me say this. The House taking a vote on whether or not to release the Epstein files or not. I don't know if you guys saw this, but that's what's going on in Congress right now. Okay. Let's say they vote on releasing them. Do we all want to agree that half of them have most likely been destroyed at this point? I mean, like me personally, you can release them. Sure, release them. But at this point, they've made such a fuss over it, and they've made us feel like we're so crazy. Oh, did they already vote? Shut up, MJ. Did they actually? Hold on. Did I just hold on? How? Let me see. Now I'm like, let me not get too close to the. Okay. Oh, they did. They voted to block the release of the Epstein files. What? Okay. All right. So here we go. So this is Trump got to them the same way Trump calls Charlie Kirk and he's like, hey, stop talking about the Epstein files, right? Wait, MJ, was GOP all no? That's funny. See, I would think everybody would be no personally, but and also, wait, I got to say, the GOP, I know some of you hated when I said this, but they're suckling Trump's teeth. So yes, of course they're going to vote no also, right? Do you guys kind of agree with that? I mean, I think it's a little bit of both, right? But hey, Derek, good to see you. Yeah, but I just was like, it doesn't matter anymore. Like you're going to release these files. Half of them are going to be missing. And it's just funny because like when they released the flight logs, when they released back, I think it was last February, and no, it was before too. They released some of Virginia Giuffre's stuff with transcripts with Ghislaine Maxwell that they became unsealed. It was just like a lot of the same stuff. And the names we saw, most of the people mentioned were dead. Jean-Luc Brunel, that was a known associate of Epstein. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him, but he also he hung himself in a jail in Paris before he could go to trial. Is that not weird? Did you guys know that? Sorry, I'm going to the chat for a second. Did I miss anything? Again, stop. Eric Adams did nothing to suck up to Trump. Please go with what you know is fact. Oh no, that is a fact. It is a fact that Eric Adams sucked up to Trump. I multiple sources within the New York City administration. I mean, that they've confirmed that with me. We talk about it openly. And I believe Eric Adams has kind of talked about it openly about how he does side with a lot of Trump's policies. And if you recall, when he was running for mayor, he was pandering to New York City and to the liberal voters in New York City about, agreeing with the mandates, with the masks and COVID and whatnot. So he did a complete 180. So I don't necessarily think that's an opinion. I do think that's fact. But let me see. Oh, this is so nice. Thank you so much. Thank you for the super chat. I so appreciate you. So appreciate you. Yeah. So you guys are so funny. Okay, but be nice to each other in the chat. You guys know if someone disagrees with me, I'm fine with that. You guys know that. I think it's fun to have that type of conversation, the pushback. I just want everybody to be respectful. That's all. Hey, Steph. And yes, please do hit the like button. Please, please, please. So again, I am curious at this point, just going back, if they are going to let her husband go. I think that is going to be really, really interesting. And let's see, maybe, should we call Rudy Giuliani to see what he says? He's obviously very in with the Trump administration right now. I could do like you're live to tape. What are your thoughts? And you're asking me, what are my thoughts on Eric Adams? Well, my gosh, did you see the civil suit that came out yesterday by former NYPD Commissioner Tom Donlin? That was wild. I mean, that was a crazy civil suit alleging that Eric Adams and the NYPD are this criminal enterprise. Like, it was like a racketeering civil lawsuit. It was wild. So I also checked in with I know two guys that work for the NYPD right now. And I said, what do you think of this lawsuit? And they actually said, I don't believe it, which I was like, well, I've said my piece about civil lawsuits, but they come from somewhere, right? They come from somewhere. So I don't know. It's tough because we did hear a lot about the sexual misconduct being covered up. And we heard about this a long time ago when this woman came forward. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. All right. Let me see let's call Rudy. Let's put him on speaker right now. Let's just for fun. Let's see if he answers. I feel bad. So I texted him just for fun. Oops, hold on. Why did that? Okay. All right. Let's do it. Live to tape. Speaker. Can you hear it ringing? I'm going to tell him he's live.
Hello, Lauren.
Hi, Mayor. How are you? I'm good. So if you don't mind, I have you on speakerphone right now. I'm doing a stream about Maurene Comey, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but I really, I wanted your opinion so badly on the record about her firing. Oh, the whole chat says hi. They say hi, Mayor. So I'm wondering what you think about what happened. And do you think it's because of her dad or because of overcharges in the Southern District? What do you think?
I don't know her. Of course, I know her dad. I hired him and he worked for me for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And I've known him for, oh my gosh, since 1988 or so.
Wow.
And knew him quite well before he went rogue. I believe her father was, and historically will be, the worst director in the history of the FBI. And he thoroughly disgraced it. And I am, I'm sorry I hired him.
Yeah. Well, you didn't know.
I just never knew every once in a while, President Trump says to me, "How did you hire him?" Say to President Trump, how did you hire Cohen?"
Wait,
we laugh about it, but we're both, I think, kind of sad about it.
yeah.
But the reality is, I don't know how that affects his daughter. She's been in the Southern District for quite some time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know her reputation there as good or bad. I would be surprised if she were fired over her father, because they left her there when they first came in. I think I take a better look at the Diddy case.
Right. Well, yeah, but you think
she was involved in that, and maybe somebody had questions about it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, so what I was discussing is that, she was handed the case by Damian Williams, but she had discretion if she thought maybe it was an overcharge. And I thought that the case, kind of watching it every day, was weak, right?
I have seen more cases get lost on overcharge when it's a good case, at the core, than just about anything else. And I was very careful about that when I was a U.S. attorney.
Yeah. Right. And you started RICO, guys. We're talking to the man.
Yeah, but you have to RICO. You have to realize when you bring a RICO case. I don't know if I've ever had an unsuccessful one. I don't think so. Maybe if I did, it was a small one. I don't remember like a big one that went bad.
Wow.
I never overcharged in a RICO case. I might even leave things out of a RICO case that were questionable because it would question the whole RICO.
Right.
You've got to, when you bring a RICO case, you got to stand back. You have to say the defense is going to attack this. I mean, you can bring a RICO case against Hitler, and the defense will attack it as being an overcharge, right?
True. Very true. Very true.
Well, because it is. I mean, a RICO case, you can seize all of somebody's property.
Yeah.
You can't normally do that. So
Right.
you have to stand back and you have to say to yourself, forget all the technical legal defenses. A good defense lawyer is going to say the government was unfair. It could have gotten everything it wanted without being unfair.
Yep.
Why did it do that? Now you've got to be able to answer that. You got to be able to answer how terrible this crime was. If it's an organized crime case, it's a little bit easier because it fits very neatly into that. But if it's a white collar crime case, it better be a really big one. I brought it against Milken successfully, and I brought it against Boesky successfully.
Wow.
But if you tried to bring it against, I'll give you an overcharge.
Yeah.
I thought her father overcharged Martha Stewart.
Oh, you're so right about that. Martha Stewart was totally overcharged. I forgot that was Comey.
That's the first thing that made me doubt Comey.
Wow.
Long before, and I was out of government then. I may have been the mayor then. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I remember reading the case thinking, generally, we handle a first offender insider trading case civilly. We go to the SEC. The SEC hits them with a very big fine and tells him, ever do it again, we're going to put you in jail. Largely because insider trading is not it's not as obvious a crime, let's say, as theft or assault.
Not as obvious,
or robbery.
Right.
Yeah, insider trading, people, it's like when the rabbis on Saturday morning debate the Torah.
Yeah. No, right. Wait.
So unless it's a really, really bad first case.
Yeah.
If it's just a single charge, and I know she had a bit of a financial background, because that would argue against her a little bit. But still, I thought, well, maybe I should put it simply this way. I thought if she weren't Martha Stewart, she wouldn't have gotten charged. She'd have gotten a $100,000 fine.
Yep.
She'd gotten a nice letter, and they'd have kept watch on her. And if she did it again, they'd put her in the slammer.
I mean, yes. So this is such a good point.
And remember, I pretty much set the rules for. There were insider trading cases before me, but I treated them a lot more seriously.
Right.
And I set the rules for them. So if I had trouble charging that case, there must have been a problem with it, because that's pretty tough on insider trading.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this while I have you, just quickly to go to Diddy. What do you think about, the judge leaving him in jail over prostitution charges? What do you think about that?
I think the judge is letting the other evidence, which the jury didn't find unanimously against him, influence it.
Yeah.
I mean, which isn't so unusual, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
I mean, a judge on a bail decision, you can go a little bit further than what was somebody convicted of.
Right.
You can look at, like, somebody could come in and say, give you some extra evidence that a person would be dangerous, or extra evidence that a person might run away. So yeah. I don't know the case well enough to tell you whether or not the judge was right. But okay. It would be unfair to the judge to say, well, you got to rule that out.
Okay.
You got to rule it out. You got to rule it out if you ever have to have an issue of guilt or innocence. You don't have to rule it out for evaluating the guy's behavior.
So okay. Yeah.
Let's say the judge half believes that.
Okay.
He doesn't believe it beyond a reasonable doubt, but he half believes it. That would be enough to consider it for bail.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that.
I know it's getting very technical, but
no, it's technical, but it's helpful, because I think a lot of people are torn on this because of what they know about him as a human, but in the courtroom and what he was charged and convicted, or I'm sorry, what he was convicted on, it just didn't.
I talked something about it. I can see it's very easy to get confused, because we always talk about reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
But reasonable doubt only exists for the purpose of convicting someone of a crime, because you're putting their liberty at jeopardy. In a civil case, all you have to do is prove it by a preponderance of the evidence, or clear and convincing evidence. So if somebody sued him, if somebody sued him for that, he might get held liable for it.
Well, and he was. So Kathy civilly sued him, and she got $20 million. You're correct.
So
now,
those are not necessarily inconsistent.
Right.
That could be almost a perfect example of how the law operates.
Right. Well, and then let me ask you one more thing about Maurene, just because.
And so is Simpson. Remember, O.J. Simpson was found civilly liable and had to pay money to the family.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yes. Oh my gosh. I know. And by the way, the chat says you're great. You explain things well. Best mayor in New York City. I know you're the best. Wait, but let me just ask you again about Maurene really quickly, because you said she's been working there, and her father got fired.
I'm uncomfortable.
Okay.
Withholding the sins of the father on the daughter or the son. I have to know more about her.
Right. Like, if it's based on performance, that's one thing. That's one aspect of it.
It shouldn't be based on just the fact that she's Jim Comey's daughter. Yeah. And you might honestly believe, even in the Justice Department, that he was a disgrace to the Justice Department. That she should be evaluated as if she's Joe Smith's daughter. And is she good or bad? And is she doing a good job or a bad job?
But what if they're investigating? What if, because that Trump said, "Oh, we're investigating him right now because of Russia." Didn't he say that like last week? I mean, he did. He said so. You're right. She shouldn't be, I guess.
Oh, that's a good question. That makes it really complicated, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But is the Southern District investigating her, or the Justice Department investigating her?
It's not her. The DOJ.
Yeah, it's not her office. If it's not her office, I don't really care.
Okay.
They're all very separate. I mean, the people in DOJ don't have any idea what goes on in justice.
Yeah.
And even though they're supposed to, the people in justice have no idea what goes on in the Southern District.
Oh my God.
They never tell them. We always considered we were smarter, more effective, and much better than they are.
Well, I mean, what do you?
And I was in both. Remember?
Yeah.
I was in both about an equal amount of time in DOJ and in Southern District.
I mean,
if I go back to then, the Southern District is one of the highest performing law offices in the country. and the DOJ
Yes.
is above average.
Yes. It's 95% conviction rate. We were just discussing this. And, you know, I had also said, if this investigation into James Comey is even true, because a part of me, Mayor, was like, well, I think they're just trying to hold up something shiny because they want to distract from the Epstein disaster. So I kind of thought that too. But Maurene Comey got the conviction against Ghislaine, and now apparently there was no evidence, right? I mean, no evidence at all.
I don't know what she was convicted of.
There you go. There you go. So what I mean, what do you think about the Epstein
God,
stuff?
I don't have. I am in a total state of confusion about that case.
About Epstein?
Yeah, because the three people that are the decision makers, I have complete trust in. Bondi and Cash and Bongino, they're about as honest as you can be.
Except for Pam right now. What do you mean? She totally lied. They're on my desk. I read them.
I'm not talking about how she's acting right now.
Okay.
I'm talking about my experience.
Okay. I'm like, what?
So
Okay.
I'm sitting there thinking, I wish they would at least call me up and tell me the secret of what's going on.
Yeah.
I'd feel better.
Right?
Because, yeah, I mean, and I know, I'm one of the people that absolutely knows that Trump is not involved in this, because when it first came up, I went and investigated it, and I've got extremely solid proof that he could have nothing to do with this. A New York Times reporter found it originally.
Wow.
And I mean, he threw the guy out of Mar-a-Lago.
Real.
I've got the affidavits. I've got the witnesses. Once the guy made a indecent proposal to a female masseuse.
Yeah.
Which there had been a bit of a history of that, but he didn't know about it. When he found out about it, he got rid of him right on the spot.
What?
He called up. Well, yeah, it's a story. The story's in the Times if you dig it out.
Okay. What was the name?
It goes back. It goes back to about maybe before he ran for president.
Okay.
It goes back to maybe 20. I'm guessing now, but 2010, something like that.
Okay.
And it was after he originally got in trouble, I think, but before all this recent stuff. So at that time, nobody really knew that he was allegedly involved with children.
Yeah.
They suspected it. So
right.
He knew him as a member of the club. He used his airplane twice, borrowed it to go back to New York, as he did many other members.
Yeah.
But he was not on the plane. He was never on the plane ever going to that crazy island or anything like that.
Right. Okay.
And their socializing was, you could count it on one hand. They would probably ended up at the same place 3 or 4 times. So you'd call them an acquaintance and kind of a friend, but not a close friend.
Right.
But all of a sudden, one day, the head of his department that gives massages walks in with a masseuse who's nervous as hell.
Oh.
And she says, "Mr. Trump, I have something to report to you." Whatever her name was is afraid, but I told her you would, want to know this. So she said that Epstein had twice tried to pressure her, to do something sexual after the massage.
The massage.
And then the supervisor added, this is not, I would have brought it to you if this were a bit of a problem, but this guy's a problem. He's constantly, every time he comes in, I can't get anybody to massage. So we're talking about adult women now, right? We're not talking about anything about children or anything like that.
Right.
So Trump said, well, let's get rid of him. I don't even like, the guy's creepy anyway, said something like that,
Yeah.
He made an aside suggesting that although he seemed to be friendly with him, he really didn't like him. So he said, I'll get rid of him. But he picks up the phone, he calls the security people. He said, go to the locker at the golf course.
Yeah.
Get all of this stuff, put it in the security booth at the entrance. Put a thing on it. If you have anything else, let us know. We'll get it for you. You're not allowed back here again. And then put a picture up of him in all of our guard boots and never let him in again.
What?
Threw him out.
Wait, I mean, I feel like other people could probably also speak to this. If a picture was up there of him.
Other people can, and if you go back to the Times, do a little research, you'll find it.
Okay, so this was like 2010 that Trump was like, Epstein can't come back, like he cannot be
before
here.
I represented him but while I was representing him, the Epstein thing came up. So I said I better be prepared on that. And I found the reporter, and
wow,
I went through the whole thing.
Wow, that's so crazy. I mean,
part of his attitude, because I know him so well, is he's just disgusted with this. It's like, who the hell wants to hear about this creep anymore?
Well, he promised us. That's why. I think that's
I don't know. I think when he promised it, he didn't realize how complicated it was going to be as far as finding the evidence. And
okay.
So I don't know, but I'm not a good one to give you anything on why it's going this way. Or, I mean, they did say things, and then the things were contradicted. And so they created. If this right out of the box was just one straight version, there'd be no problem. But you have these different changing things.
Exactly.
And nobody sits down and explains the whole thing.
Right.
Now, I don't know why. I mean, I just have a feeling there's something to this that would explain it that we don't know.
Oh, of course.
And I don't think. Well, I don't know what it is, so therefore, how can I speculate about it?
Yeah, well, no, and you're very responsible. You are responsible to not speculate about it. You know,
every time I do, I change my mind. So.
No, and I get that, because I totally get that. I mean, I think that it's interesting because, you know, we see the picture that's been circulated of Trump and Jeffrey and you know, Melania and Ghislaine.
And there are millions of pictures like that, but there's only one picture of a guy in his house in a dress.
Yeah. Okay. That's Bill Clinton.
I mean, if anybody thinks it has something to do with Trump, they're wrong.
I agree with that.
If they think it has something to do with Clinton, well, yeah, they're right on the money. I mean, he's got his. How many people have a picture of an ex-president in a dress in their house?
Sorry, not many.
And second, how many times was he on that damn plane?
Yeah, I don't know the answer, but
Trump was never on that plane headed to the Happy Island, right? Or Perjury Island.
Epstein Island, Pedo Island.
He was allegedly on that plane 27 times. Now he denies that. That should be that you should be able to figure that out.
Yeah, no.
Planes have manifest. I mean, how about we start with just one question? Verify for us how many times Clinton was on the plane going to Happy Island.
That is a great question, but I don't know.
As far as I know, of all the people, that have been mentioned fairly and unfairly, he's the one where the biggest numbers were mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody else who's alleged to have gone there 27 times except Epstein.
And I had notes about this, gosh, a long time ago when it first came out. I was, the flight log. I said, the flight logs are important. However, I think I was taking what RFK said to heart, where he said, I flew on that plane. My kids flew on it. My wife flew on it.
I don't say that it's
sorry.
Incriminating. Well, it is. It's like any bit of evidence.
Yeah.
Were you or were you not in the city when the person got killed?
Right.
Doesn't mean you killed them.
Exactly.
If you weren't in the city, you couldn't have killed them.
Right.
If you were in the city, you could have, but so could 8 million other people. I mean, it's just something that has to be answered. And I would say a guy that was on that plane. Now, Kennedy may have been on that plane, but did he go to the island?
Yeah, I exactly. I don't know, because of course the plane flew other places.
I don't think being on the plane means anything.
Right.
I think for sure you could say he led 2 lives, and a lot of people dealt with him and had no idea that he was a pervert.
Yeah. No.
But then if he becomes your, not just the guy that you deal with financially, deal with for business, or even have an occasional friendship with, all of a sudden you're with him all the time.
Yeah.
Now it becomes much more likely that you know what's going on.
Yeah.
It also becomes much more likely that he has something on you. Otherwise, he wouldn't trust you to be with him that much.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, Sorry, this has been such a treat, Mayor. I won't take up too much more of your time.
It's very unfair. If they have a couple of people, right,
Mhm.
whose names are down on that list, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 times, unless you have other proof, maybe you just leave that out because you're going to hurt their reputations.
Yeah.
But you got somebody who's on that list, over a half dozen times and headed for Pervert Island.
Yeah.
They gotta be investigated.
Headed for yeah, and hopefully, we will get there, but who knows? But we should set something up where I have you on for video sometime soon. So I'll text you, or I'll just call you like this and send you a link.
I can also see how you'd get upset if you thought this was like for prurient interest. You just want to know who's perverted and who's not, which you probably should know. But there's also there is lying in the back of this, at least a national security question.
Oh, yeah?
Right?
Well, how so?
Yeah. Well, his case got dealt with very funny the first time.
Oh, yeah, true. Epstein.
There are these allegations that intelligence services were using him.
Like Mossad or like?
Well, no, even CIA.
Okay.
So we should find out. I mean, we should find that you should find out.
Yeah.
That's not something you can't just brush that under the rug, because we should know if intelligence services are doing that.
That's really interesting. I didn't think about that. No, there's a lot to go over, I think, and a lot to dig into. I think it's just like, where do you even begin, and will people be truthful about it? And my thinking is no one's going to be truthful if you ask them questions about this. If you dig and you find certain things, certain evidence, I'm afraid that something would happen to somebody the way that the government's treating this whole thing.
And that, and the people who have that theory, then it's actually probably more serious than just the normal sexual abuse case.
Yes, exactly. 100%. There's something going on.
Not that a sexual abuse case is serious, but
yes,
usually people don't get killed in those cases.
Exactly. You just nailed it. Usually people don't die. Multiple people don't die. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's so true. So true.
So you're not going to satisfy the American appetite for wanting answers to this, because it has so many different parts to it.
Yeah.
Some of it's sensational, and some of it very real. That the best thing to do is to get it all out.
Yeah. Well, tell the president to do a sit down. Please tell him. Really? Are you in New Hampshire or Florida? Where are you at?
I'm in New Hampshire. I'm sitting right here. Cool. Right here in Dover, New Hampshire, looking at my little clearing in the woods where I can see the water.
Oh, I'll be there next week. Are you there next week?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here next week.
All right, I'll text you. Okay.
Yeah, this place is beautiful.
Oh, I'll drive up. I think I'm like 30 minutes from my parents. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's beautiful here.
All right.
I'm telling you. Okay.
All right, I'll text you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. That was so fun, you guys. That was crazy. Wow. How long did we just talk for? I'm looking. I did not expect that conversation to be so fruitful. I'm so into it. Oh my goodness. And Ori, thank you so much for your super chats. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys could hear that as well. Let me put this in. So that's interesting. I was thinking about this. I didn't realize that James Comey was the one that charged Martha Stewart, which he brought up a good point. That was such an overcharge. I know that's not like the key takeaway here from this whole situation, but it's great because he was like so honest about it. Like, I don't know why Trump would be so dodgy about this. He didn't even like Epstein. He wasn't, I mean, that was a really interesting conversation. I probably will go back and look at the he said something about 2010, I think, about that something in the New York Times, an article came out about Trump and Epstein and him not being allowed at Mar-a-Lago. That's super, super interesting to me. I'm going to share, there's another newer article about Comey and her firing. See if there's any more information. Let me just see. But yeah, that's funny. He said he hired James Comey. That's also wild. Very, very wild. Oh, good. I'm so glad you could hear once I moved to the mic. Okay. Also, this is completely off topic, but I have to call this eyebrow place. I was supposed to get my eyebrows done. They were supposed to do this like micro shading to them, but I'm chickening out. I don't want to do it anymore. I was supposed to do it at 10:30 and I'm going to call and cancel. I feel really bad. I don't want to like fib, but and I didn't put a credit card down. So I don't think it's very formal, but I'm just too scared to have someone like put something permanent on my eyebrows. Sorry for that. So I just need to call really quick and say that I have to cancel. Sorry. And sorry if you hear me lie because I feel guilty about that.
Hello, Serenity Spa. How can I help you?
Hi. I had an appointment at 10:30 for my eyebrows, but I'm not feeling so well, so I don't think I'll be able to make it this morning.
May I have your name?
Lauren.
Lauren for the touch-up, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, sorry. Feel bad. I feel fine, but I don't feel that good. I'm hungry, so my stomach hurts, whatever. Sorry. Okay, thank you. The brow procedures could go very, very wrong. And the worst thing ever would be Bert and Ernie. Sorry. Okay. Ori, you're so sweet. I love you. Thank you. But sorry you all had to hear that. Oh, I'm not sure if you saw this, by the way. Let me see. Sorry. Lady, you are lying to strangers like they're your parents and you skipped school. Sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be a liar. My stomach does hurt, okay? It does hurt. I am hungry. It's not a full lie. It's also a little fiblet, okay? Oh, thank you so much. Something is happening and our girl's going to find it and spill the tea. Yes. I mean, Rudy is a wealth of information. He knows everything. I mean, I had this conversation with him about Hunter Biden at one point, and it was really, really interesting. I mean, and also Joe Biden, you know, he was the first one to criticize Joe Biden. Obviously, he did not like him, but he also was the first one to be like, no, in the 80s and in the 90s, he's like, Joe Biden was so fun. Everybody wanted to party with him. I mean, you know, it was just funny. Let me see. You said, I looked at Comey's original indictment of Maxwell. It was written so specific as to she trafficked to Epstein. It mentions others known and unknown at least once. Could that be the case? Yeah, let me pull this up. And oh, hey, Charlie. Good to see you. Yeah, let me go to the court listener dockets just to see the original, if I can find the original indictment. Against Ghislaine, sorry. Also, I'm not sure if you guys saw, but a forensic video expert or company came out and actually said that the MCC video, that the DOJ put out of Epstein was actually doctored and more than 1 minute was missing. They said it was 3 minutes and they actually said it was pieced together by like Adobe Pro, which is crazy. Let's see. Okay. Ghislaine Maxwell, date filed, United States versus Maxwell. Oh my gosh, there's like 3 dockets here. Nope, it's not that one. Let's try the second one. Oh, this is her appeal. Are they going to have the original indictment here? Or maybe I can just Google that. I don't have to look on Pacer. Oh, wait. Nope, we have it. Copy of the warrant and the indictment. Okay, here it is. It says, this offense is briefly described as followed. Conspiracy to entice, and it has all the sections there. Conspiracy to entice minors, enticement of a minor, conspiracy to transport minors, transportation of a minor, and perjury. And these are the grand jury charges. Count 1, conspiracy to entice minors to travel to engage in illegal sex acts. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, guys, let me just share this tab. Look at this. You guys, if you guys joined my my previous live streams, you'll know that I would go to Jeffrey Epstein's townhouse and poke around. Kind of, that's his townhouse. That's wild. This is 71st Street, 9 East 71st Street. That is Palm Beach. Oh, no, that's New Mexico. Wow. Maxwell met minor victim 1 when minor victim was 14. She interacted. Yeah. So, and this was Maxwell's efforts to conceal statutory allegations. Count 2, enticement of a minor to travel to engage in illegal sex acts. Count 3, conspiracy to transport minors with the intent to engage in criminal sex acts. Okay. Count 4, transportation. Yeah, this is very specific. I mean, to whom? This is so wild. I haven't looked at this in a long time. And then perjury. On or about July 22nd, 2016, in the SDNY, Ghislaine Maxwell, the defendant, having taken an oath to testify truthfully in a deposition in connection with the case then pending, Jeffrey Epstein. These are the questions, and she gave false testimony. Were you aware of the presence of sex toys or devices used in sexual activities in Mr. Epstein's Palm Beach house? No, not that I recall. Do you know whether Mr. Epstein possessed sex toys or devices used in sexual activities? No. Other than yourself and the blonde and the brunette that you have identified as having been involved in three-way sexual activities, with whom did Mr. Epstein have sexual activities? I wasn't aware that he was having, oh man, she really did perjure herself. I wasn't aware that he was having sexual activities with anyone when I was with him other than myself. Wow. I want to make sure that I'm clear. Is it your testimony that in the 90s and 2000s, you were not aware that Mr. Epstein was having sexual activities with anyone other than yourself and the blonde and the, whoa, this is crazy. I literally, oh my gosh, I haven't read this in so long. Is it your testimony that you've never given anybody a massage? I don't know the answer to that. She says no. You've never given Mr. Epstein a massage? Is that your testimony? That is my testimony. I mean, that could be true. She had all the 14-year-olds do it. You never gave minor victim 2 a massage as your testimony? Oh, minor victim 2 did say that she did. And she said, no, she never did. Yeah, totally lied. Got it. Okay. Wow. That is super wild. And again, I haven't seen that in a really long time. But that's I guess a good refresher. And yes, you've passed that house. Yeah, 9 East 71st Street. It's under construction right now. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, just really quick. Let me put this back. But Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein, let me find. Mark Epstein owns some real estate on 66th Street in Manhattan. And I wrote down the other day what that building is. That building is 301 East 66th Street. Apparently, that's where he would house a lot of women. And also, he would send men to that apartment and those apartments as well. And there have also been rumors that Epstein, this is totally rumored, that he may have fathered a child there that lived in that building as well. Who knows if that has any truth to it? I was actually thinking about, I was looking up that building and seeing if any apartments were for sale. I mean, I live so close to there that I was like, I should go over there and say that I want to look at XYZ apartment and just check out that building and see if I can find anything and just be like, yeah, I might want to buy this. Like, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, I feel like that building, some things have gone down there. So look it up, 301 East 66th Street. Mark Epstein owns that building. So yeah, that's so crazy. And again, take a look, because the video apparently from the prison that the DOJ released, or from the jail, it was heavily edited per a video forensics company that does this for a living. And yeah, I believe them, because the government has not been truthful about this. There's something going on. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much everybody learned from this stream this morning, or you know, I hope you learned something. There was some speculation that I have made during this live stream and during this conversation. But again, everything that I speculate, I let you guys know, not fact. But yeah, a lot going on. And by the way, how cool is it to also talk to Rudy, who like invented the Racketeering Act? That's just so crazy, or the RICO. But yeah. Oh, Dizzy, thank you so much. I love you. Goodness. Let me know if you guys have any last minute things you want to say or ask. Yeah, let me know before I jump off here. Let me know. And my eyebrows will stay the same, stay nice. Yeah, did I miss anything from this morning? Let me just look at this BBC article. The Justice Department has been firing lawyers who worked on cases that angered the president. That's what BBC is saying. What? What cases would have angered the president? I mean, if we're going off of what Rudy said, I don't think he'd be angry about Epstein or Maxwell, clearly. On Wednesday, Trump fired off his strongest rebuke yet on social media at supporters who claim there's been a cover-up, labeling them as weaklings. Oh my gosh, stop it. Stop gaslighting us. Like I said to Rudy, we're making a big deal about this because they bragged to us that they were going to share with us. This just didn't come out of nowhere. It's so annoying. My gosh. Let me see. Maurene Comey being fired is revenge from the Trump administration against, yeah, I mean, listen, Rudy's opinion is that they would not make her pay for her father's crimes. That's his opinion. Take it or leave it. But I totally hear that. That's what you just said is definitely part of what people are speculating about her being fired. Let me see. What did I study in college? Oh, you don't want to know. You really don't want to know, but I'll tell you. I was a musical theater major. Yeah. And then and communications and journalism was my minor. However, I don't talk about that too often because yeah, I would not recommend anybody study that. It does not get you anywhere. Yeah, moved to New York, really wanted to be an actress on Broadway. Didn't really work out, but this is so much more rewarding, let me tell you. I love that with Uncle Rudy. The smile on what did I strike gold with? I don't even know anymore. Next live, I don't know. Maybe I don't know when the next live is. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday. I don't know. Oh my gosh, Nate, you're so silly. That's really nice. Thank you. There's also there's this filter on StreamYard, by the way. You can like make your skin better. Like my skin looks really shiny right now, but if you saw it without this filter, you would see some pores, but not that. Why would I want you to see that? Would love to see a follow-up panel with you. Yeah, I think he's still on vacation, academics. I would totally love to talk further about this. Let me see. What else? Why can't you people hit the like button? Thanks, Tori. He kills me. Oh, guys, look at this. I forgot. Ori, look. Your book is right here. This is Ori's book. And guess what? It's going to be a major Hollywood movie. The screenwriter that's writing the screenplay for Ori, he also wrote Goodfellas. He's a very famous screenwriter. And look at Ori wrote me a nice message. So everybody go buy Ori's book and subscribe to his channel. He's great. And I listened to his book audio like it was a podcast. It was great. And every chapter ends with him saying, "Go figure." That's like Ori's thing. Go figure. So whenever I talk to Ori, we had this joke where I was just saying to him, "Go figure," after. It's just funny. I don't know. It's funny to me. Maybe it was funny to Ori too. But yeah, let me see. Okay. Crypto case. Oh yeah. Crypto case. Guys, so I don't know if anybody's as interested as I thought they would be in this case. I am. And and thank you, Maytal. That's really nice. Never be embarrassed. Thank you. So I'm glad you asked about it, because when the hearing got pushed back the other day, I went to the clerk's office, and it's on the 10th floor at the criminal courthouse, which is, I've said this, it's a total butthole. Like, the federal courthouse is so much nicer than Manhattan Criminal Court. Manhattan Criminal Court, it's literal, it's hotter than hell. It smells like an armpit asshole. It's disgusting. And then going into the clerk's office, I was in line, this woman in front of me, she was just screaming at the clerk because this clerk didn't have information on, I guess, an indictment or something, that it was her indictment. She made it clear. She's like, I was charged with attempted murder in 1994. And the clerk was like, I can't help you. It was so uncomfortable. But anyway, so I hung out there for a while, and I was able to get, usually they don't do this, but I was able to get a transcript that day from one of the hearings that I missed. And I posted part of this transcript on Twitter, and I think I posted part of it on YouTube, but it was really detailing some of the things that went down in that house with these crypto guys. It was gross. It was really salacious, really gross. And I will say, I don't think this is going to be an open and shut case like I thought. Dizzy, I did. And I'm so glad. But wait, so I have this whole transcript from 2 weeks ago, which I think is gold. And I also think the hearing next week on July 23rd will also be gold. So I will be there for that. Because they're going to be discussing some of the evidence that was brought up on the 11th, June 11th, next week, both sides, as to why these guys should remain in jail until further notice, or until there's a possible trial date set or not. And so, like, for example, the prosecutors are like, there's a picture, because apparently these guys took they took Polaroids of the torture of this Italian businessman. And there's Polaroids of him on fire. Like, and they said that he would be lit on fire, and then they would piss on him to put the fire out. And they would use tequila as an accelerant. They would force him to do drugs. They have pictures of him being like walked around with like a BDSM dog collar on. It's so crazy. They would cut him with a chainsaw, all for his Bitcoin password, right? Fine. Seems like open and shut. Okay. Well, then the defense is like, whoa. I need to show you guys a video about 36 hours before this guy escaped. I say escaped because I'm being the defense right now. Before he escaped, 36 hours, they were at this eyeglass store buying some eyeglasses. There's video footage of them inside the store with a bunch of people. The defendants, the victim, and a bunch of people, and then they're outside of the store as well, and they're chatting and laughing. And the defense is like, so if he was being held, then why is he not telling anybody that he's being held hostage and he's been kidnapped, whatever? There's more to this story. So I'm like, that's interesting. And apparently this guy, he had visited John Waltz before, and then, this was like the second or third visit, and then things went sour, I guess. I mean, I just think there's a lot more. It's not going to be open and shut. And I had also mentioned this on the video I did, and now I have a playlist on YouTube, by the way. It's the Crypto Kidnapping playlist. So go catch up. But yeah, the NYPD, they're working with police in Kentucky as well, because John Waltz might be connected to another kidnapping. And when they searched his homes, they found about 18 guns. Now, no, actually, he did not die. But by the way, I am not from the South, but I know in the South, is 18 guns a lot? I don't know. It seems like a lot, but again, if you're in the South, I don't know how that works. Is that a normal amount of guns to have? But also, he was charged with criminal possession of a firearm. That's one of the charges. So, it's not in New York, there's much stricter gun laws. So, and yes, we're talking about, sorry, you're asking questions about Maurene Comey. I'm talking about the crypto case, but yes, Maurene Comey actually led the prosecution team against Sean Diddy Combs. Okay, Dizzy, that's interesting. 18 guns isn't a lot for Texans anyway. Okay. So it's called the crypto kidnapping case because the defendant, the lead defendant, John Waltz, he calls himself the crypto king of Kentucky, and he's very wealthy. He has private jets, like he's made a ton of money in crypto. And oh, this is so, sorry, I'll go that. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. But yeah, so I mean, these guys rolled around with security. Like they used NYPD detectives that they hired that were not on the job to be their security. And people have said they rolled up in nightclubs with more security than like Kanye West, like crazy. And this makes me laugh. That's a Southern starter kit. The 18 guns, I'm dead. That's so funny. Okay, so there you go. And that's why I love bouncing this off some of you guys, because if I'm reporting on this and I'm trying to be unbiased, sometimes you can probably see it in my eyes where I'm like, whoa, 18 guns. Like that's kind of a lot. You know, yeah. So yeah, really helpful. But anyway, I will be going back on the 23rd to hear what they have to say about this evidence. And if anyone's interested, you know, I should do a stream going over the whatchamacallit, the transcript from the other week, because it's crazy. It's so crazy. And I think, again, it will help people understand this case a little bit more. And maybe right now, no one's talking about it, but I feel like if this goes to trial, people will be talking about it. I mark my words. It's just too weird. And, oh, hi, Mom. Granddaddy Bob has 10. Really? He has 10 guns? Interesting. Yeah, okay. And so sorry. That's, my mom is from the South and my granddad lives in North Carolina. So that's why, yeah, she said that. So yes, the crypto thing happened in NYC, but yeah, mark my words. I think that people will be talking about this because there's something about John Waltz that's not sitting right with me. And I don't, you know, he is innocent until proven guilty, but he's a small dude. His friend, William Duplessis, really tall, but the amount of drugs they found in there, and they were cooking crack, like they were doing some stuff. Yeah, he seems like he could be a little wild and dangerous while on these drugs, and who knows what he's capable of. And he sounds like the type of guy that could possibly just snap really quickly and really easily, if I had to guess. And like I said, there's just, when he kind of walked into the courtroom, there's just something about him that gave me chills, I guess. Maybe the lack of emotion. Maybe I felt like his eyes were a little bit beady. But again, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt here because he deserves a fair trial. The man he kidnapped, he is traumatized, but he is okay. And it's interesting. They appeared to be friends before. So what he's being charged with, Ashley, let me get you the exact charges. It's first degree. Let me see. Sorry. Because there's a couple charges and it's interesting because I'm like, are they going to get bail here? Like these are charges where maybe you shouldn't get bail. Just saying. Okay. 2 counts of second degree assault. I'm sorry. First degree kidnapping charge, first degree unlawful imprisonment, and criminal possession of a firearm. If he and William Duplessis would be found guilty on all of those, they would spend life in prison. So, sorry, cooking crack. Sorry. Sorry. Oh, love you. Have a good day. Bye. Yeah. No. Okay. So it's funny. It's New York law, and of course they'll get bail. Well, they didn't get bail the first time. Obviously, it doesn't work like that with these charges. So yeah, it's taking a bit longer. And it seems like Judge Caro really wants to sift through this evidence, and the prosecution hadn't seen the video, the surveillance video yet of this eyeglass store. Sorry, I don't know why I said jewelry. But yeah, it sounds like there might be another surveillance video as well of them at a club partying, or maybe not surveillance, but just footage from somebody else. So yeah, we'll see. Squinting Cat, I was asked in jury duty voir dire in Florida how many guns I owned. Less than 50. You're so funny. Yeah, this is news to me. FS1 scandals. I don't know. I'm not up to speed on that. I'm not really yeah. If are people into that or yeah, I don't know. I was just looking that up really quick. But yeah, flight risk. Okay, so Ashley, they both said that they will go and stay with their parents. And obviously John Waltz has some private jets. I think he has 2 private jets or something like that. Like, these guys are loaded. It's crazy. The townhouse they were staying in was 30 grand a month. It looked so sick. It was on Prince Street, really nice neighborhood in Soho. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, the victim refused to give his crypto password pretty much until the end. And who knows, like, we're going to find out like when things kind of shifted, when things kind of went south, because it seems pretty clear they were all having a good time and partying and doing things together, and then it just went sour. So but yeah, I just really quickly, because I feel like since I'm here, I will just show you this one part of the transcript, because gosh, it was so shocking. I was like, what the heck? Like, this is just and if you guys saw my video, what is that? John Waltz. Okay. If you guys saw my video, you also would know that Judge Caro is Mangione's judge, and he was my judge for jury duty. And I wasn't super happy with him. I did not think he was very nice to potential jurors. He kind of yelled at the jurors. Like, when people were like, oh, sorry, I have XYZ vacation planned. He's like, well, then why would you accept this jury duty summons? Like, if it's not a good time for you. And I wanted to be like, bitch, when is it a good time for jury duty? Like, when is it ever a good time? I mean, Your Honor, like, when are you like, hey, this is a good time to get jury summons? Like, it never is. It's just so weird. Okay. Let me pull this up, my computer. Hopefully my face isn't too close to you guys. All right, it's coming. Sorry, Maureen, you are removed. Let me just quickly, just so people can see, crypto kidnapping, alleged sickos. Let's just do that. Alleged, to be fair. Okay, so let me just show you guys the section why does it do this? Let me make it bigger. Ugh. So when I do this, okay, now I just can't see the chat for a second. So just bear with me, because I needed to make this bigger so I could see it. Okay. A few months ago, the defendants persuaded the victim to meet them at a location outside of Manhattan, and they persuaded him to turn over all of his devices, including something called a pass key to his cryptocurrency account, which meant that he no longer had access to a substantial amount of money that was accessible through his device, which is the nature of crypto. Okay. After this meeting, he left the location voluntarily. So this is what I mean. He was going like back and forth. The defendants invited him to another meeting, this time in New York, persuading him that he would get back the funds from that account. So he says he felt threatened by them and gave them more electronic devices. He felt that if he didn't, bad things would happen to him and his family. So note that apparently he does have a family. He does have wife and kids, but they do talk about some sexual activity that went down in that house as well. His original cryptocurrency was not returned. He left and went home. He returned to New York again on May 6th, as instructed by the defendant, Mr. Waltz. He brought other electronic devices in response to the threats that were made against him. Once he arrived at the house, he was held captive. His phone was taken, and then he was pressed to give his passwords. So this is where I think things get a little hairy, because He's saying, when I arrived on the 6th, I was immediately held hostage and kidnapped. And the defense is like, that's not true. You guys were out partying. You were, at stores being seen, whatever. And then it says he was at times tortured during this period. Among the things they did to him to inflict pain, they pistol whipped him with a gun. They cut him with a small chainsaw. They used various other instruments to inflict pain and injury upon him. They arranged for him to be photographed in various poses and various acts to create the impression he was not being held against his will. Okay. He was also not permitted to leave the house without being guarded. Okay, that makes sense. Even for what the defense said. You could have two narratives, right? Ultimately, defendant Waltz ordered the victim to transfer his funds. Then he went with Mr. Waltz to get one of the devices. The victim ran away barefoot, ran out of the house, made a desperate run to the first uniformed police officer he saw. The officer saw the victim bleeding from the head and the face, called for patrol officers. Surveillance video captured the events. He went to the hospital. Okay. So this is what they're talking about: bail, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and they're talking about how William Duplessis, he actually turned himself in. After Waltz got arrested, he turned himself in. So they're saying, he should be released because he's not a flight risk, et cetera, et cetera. And then the defense says, I have spoken to witnesses that were inside that house numerous times. He came and went as he pleased. I spoke to an individual that was the dog walker who said he took walks with him and they would walk around the neighborhood. They would chat. No one saw any allegations of things that were going on. That's interesting. And most importantly, which destroys everything the DA just said, I was able to obtain video from an eyeglass store that was taken 36 hours before he left that apartment. And in that video, what it shows clear as day is the complaining witness arriving at a location where my client was going to buy glasses. He's outside smoking a cigarette, laughing it up with a few friends, alone on the street, could have gone anywhere, had the ability to run. It says he had the ability to say, hey, I'm being tortured, I'm being kidnapped, but he didn't because that wasn't the case. Then he goes in the store, interacts with the employee, gets his glasses, comes out smiling, goes back inside while my client is outside. Again, he doesn't do anything. The story that they are selling doesn't make sense. That's what the attorney said in here. Wow. Yeah. Let me see what it says. And then the judge is like, just wait. You're saying the date that you have this video is the date that he complained? And they're saying, no, it was right before. And then what I noticed they didn't say today, but they did say on the felony or in his arraignment on the felony complaint, the original arraignment, they said Mr. Waltz was a flight risk because he has a private jet and he has a helicopter. Oh, and he said that's not true. Okay, I don't know. Whatever. They're talking about the bail packages. I just want you guys to quickly hear. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Sorry. Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry, I just got a call and I had to silence it. Let me see. So where is it? Okay. Here it is. Clearly, somebody in the defendant's circle possesses ready access to videos, and they're selectively leaking these videos with a motive to put forth an edited version of what occurred here. So that's interesting. There's the prosecutors are saying, no, these are edited videos. And they also said, we request, a copy of the eyeglass video from the defense, obviously. And they're talking about a video that TMZ released, and that video was just of the victim running. Sorry, let me just text this guy that I will call him back. Yeah, whatever. And then another one of someone that worked on Ghislaine's case texted me back about Maurene Comey, and they said performance and political when it came to her firing, just adding to that. Okay, that was kind of boring and I guess safe, but call you back in a bit. Yeah. So, okay. I just want to find where they said that. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Your Honor. Okay, so oh my gosh, they're talking about how he was being led around with a BDSM collar, having sex with someone while another person tried to prank them with a sex toy. Apparently there's a video of this, the defense says, and there's things of that nature. So we're talking about two different videos because they were talking about the TMZ release video of the victim running away. And the judge said, so that's purportedly a photo of something that happened within those 3 weeks. That's correct, Your Honor. Judge says, what are his injuries? Prosecutor says, so luckily he doesn't have burn injuries. Our information is that the defendants would pour tequila on him, light him on fire, and then put the fire out sometimes by urinating on him. Since he doesn't have the burn marks, somebody put the fire out. But as you can see, this photo shows the severity of things that this victim was going through while in this house. So that is very crazy. They're talking about more videos. Evidence corroborated. Yeah. So let me go back to the chat really quick now that you guys have seen all that. There's 26 messages. So this is some wild stuff. Yes, out of Scarface. Totally out of Scarface. Crazy. They were already rich. Why did they do that? Well, apparently John Waltz may have done this to someone else in Kentucky as well, based on what the Kentucky police says about getting a call from somebody, a woman who said she was visiting Kentucky from Sweden with her son. Her son was, she said her son told her he was being held hostage, but she didn't know anything else. All she knew was he came to the States to visit his friend named John, and she had John's address that she gave to the police, and it was a house that was owned by John Waltz. So they're looking into this now, which is crazy. And again, this is another Bitcoin guy from Sweden. So it is really interesting, this case. I think there could be federal charges coming if, it's across state lines, kidnapping, violence here. It's bad. Assault. Yeah. Very, very greedy. So anyway, and yes, keyword is allegedly, because everybody is innocent until proven guilty in the great United States of America. Anyway, guys, I feel like I've yapped enough at this point, but I can do a stream, a separate stream about the crypto kidnappers, and maybe I'll do that next week after the hearing. I'll do some videos right after the hearing, and then I'll try to get the transcript, but it probably won't be as quickly as last time because I was kind of hanging around. But yeah. Anyway, thanks, Gary. Thanks, Carrie. Carrie, that rhymes. Sounds like they are the Bitcoin mafia. Yeah, it really does. So, all right. But what I'm going to tell you guys now is, if you don't mind, you should catch up on everything that I had discussed in the crypto case on YouTube. I'm just going to plug the links right there. I'll plug them. Where are they? Okay, here's the playlist. Can I share playlist? Okay, here. I'll share it right here. So go catch up. Again, they're short videos. They're kind of like the updates that I did during the Diddy trial. So short court updates. Go check it out. I think that this is going to be a really interesting case, and I do prefer cases where there's no children or murders involved. It makes it a little bit easier to cover, just from a mental standpoint. Yes, Les, this is your homework, because I feel like my channel now, because the Diddy trial's over, I do cover a lot of different types of content when I do podcasts and videos and whatnot. So the crypto stuff I'm going to be sticking with. So you should check that out. And then also, I did another interview with this retired Massachusetts judge yesterday, Carol Erskine. There's a very horrible child murder out of New Hampshire. And it was Harmony Montgomery. She was 5 years old, died in 2019 at the hands of her monster father, Adam Montgomery. He hid her body. Her body has never been found. He basically punched her head to death. And this poor girl, Harmony Montgomery, was failed by the family court system. Completely failed in New Hampshire, my home state. She should have never been with her father. And her mother also was a drug addict. And by the way, her mother has been given, granted $2 million by the state of New Hampshire because she filed a wrongful death suit. Because listen, the mom did report her daughter missing, and they didn't look into it really for like 2 years. But the mom is also the reason that she went into foster care in the first place. And if you see this mom's social media videos, I mean, she's super young. She's in her 20s. And it kind of makes you sick. It makes me sick to my stomach. But Carol Erskine, this retired judge, actually cleared it up with me. And she's like, some of that money went to Harmony's brothers and sisters, and it was put in some kind of a trust. So that also made me feel a little bit better. But basically, New Hampshire is not taking any type of responsibility for Harmony's death. And Carol mentions in this interview that, the social workers that were sent to go check on Harmony because they got word that she had a black eye, they pulled up and they kind of looked at her from far away. They didn't even come close to examine her face, anything like that. Almost like her dad, Adam Montgomery, had people that he knew within the family court services or DCYF. And that's really, really concerning. So yeah, everybody go check that video out as well. Carol is so knowledgeable, and she has contacted the FBI to look into DCYF in New Hampshire. And I think it's really important because when it comes to kids, it's like, it's awful what kids go through in the system. And, they didn't ask to be born. They didn't ask to be born to crackheads. It infuriates me, and it just makes me so sad. Yeah. And Ashley, they failed her, and it's awful. I mean, what Carol says, she had just had firsthand knowledge about Harmony's last few months of life, and it's awful. But anyway, go check out that video. And there's good as well. It's not going to completely depress you because Carol is making headway. So anyway, all right. So we will keep an eye on the Maurene Comey information as well as Epstein. This was a fun stream. We got the tea from Mayor Giuliani. I mean, yeah, we covered it all. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening. And I think that and watching, but I will keep you guys updated in the post section of YouTube and also Twitter when I do these live streams. So yeah, thanks for coming. Don't forget to like, subscribe to this channel, whatever it is that everybody does. So, all right, have a good day, guys. Bye. Bye, Dizzy. Bye, everyone. See you later.